Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, does it make sense to 4-valve swap your 94 to 2004 Mustang GT in 2023? Let's get into today's video. Alright guys, so if you don't already know, this is a 4-valve motor. It comes from a lot of different variants throughout the years when it comes to Mustangs, Cobras, Aviators. There's a bunch of different vehicles that it comes out of, but this one in particular, I got the heads from a 2003 Mercury Marauder, and also I got the block from a 94 Lincoln Mark 8. So this is the Texit block that's good for over 1,000 horsepower. People have pushed those blocks much further, but for my instance, I haven't put any forced induction on this yet, so it's sitting right around factory power. I have the cooling head mod in the back. I have the coolant pipe crossover delete kit in the front. As you guys can see, because it's a Marauder intake, it comes around the opposite side, so I had to relocate my battery over here. And really and truly, what this video is going to be about is it worth it to 4-valve swap your Mustang GT in 2023? Alright, so as you guys have seen, I am very successful at 4-valve swapping these Mustang GTs. That's what gives me pretty much the know-how to make this video. So I've been through this twice, and the process has been different each time, but I'm gonna run through this super quickly. If you guys are here to find a budget swap that's gonna bump up your horsepower pretty significantly and make the car feel more alive, yes, the 4-valve swap is for you. If you have the money to just throw at the wall, then no, I'd swap a Coyote in it. But the Coyotes were actually built off of the 4-valve motors, and that's a whole different video. But in this video, we're going to talk about if it even makes sense to 4-valve swap your 94 to 04 Mustang. So the number one thing that I want to talk about is price. If you guys are working on a budget, yes, these motors are the best budget option to swap into your Mustang. It's not an LS, it's not a Coyote, and it's not going to cost you anywhere close to get it in the car. You can use the factory mounts that came with your Mustang GT. Trans mount, you can use depending on which version of the 4-valve motor you get, you'll either need an 8-bolt flywheel or a 6-bolt flywheel. If you stick with whichever one comes with your car, meaning if you have a 6-bolt flywheel behind your 2-valve motor and you buy a 6-bolt crank 4-valve motor, then you don't need to actually change anything. You can use your stock tranny, stock clutch, stock everything, and just slap it back in the car. Now that's if you're in a rush to get it done. I highly recommend you guys do the cooling head mod that goes and connects the two heads. It's a cooling port that deletes two of your freeze plugs in the back, and you put the little things in the back, and they give you a way to channel the coolant from one head to the next. These motors have a bad heating problem in the back where coolant just gets stagnant, so that helps with that. I have that as well. I have the pipe delete in the front, the coolant pipe delete. That is awesome. I love that. It's from MMR. It's a bit pricey, but it's definitely worth it. Other than that, I don't even have a tone on this vehicle, and it is amazing. It's just on the factory 2-valve tone, and it runs like an absolute beast. I have no issues with it. I'm actually going to get it toned remotely because I live in the Bahamas, so I don't have access to a dyno and someone that can actually tune it and all that stuff. So I'm going to have to settle for some type of Bama tuning or some type of tone where I just tell someone what's in it and they just send me a pretty close tune. I'll live with that for now. But you can use your headers that actually come on the motor once you adjust your exhaust pipes to go down, meaning that whatever headers they give you on the motor, you can just use carry it to an exhaust shop or something like that and have them just connect it to your 2-valve exhaust. That's pretty much what I did as well. So I use factory injectors, factory intake, factory bottom end. The only thing that I did in my motor was all bottom end bolts are ARP. So the bolts on the side of the motor are ARP that hold the crank in place. The main cap bolts are ARP studs and nuts, and also the connecting rods are ARP as well. So the bottom end is completely secure. I just don't have any forged parts in it yet. That's coming for a later date, but in my opinion, price wise, it is the cheapest swap, and it's the least amount of time to be running again. You can use your factory harness. You just need to depin the electrical connector for the coils and flip them over. That's pretty much it. Just reverse the polarity, plug it right back in. You're gonna have to extend some of the connections just because the motor, some of the stuff is in different areas on the motor, but other than that, I absolutely love that 4-valve motor. It took me a very long time to get that in there just because of the lack of money, the lack of know-how. I don't have any mechanical background, and I did this thing all on my own. So I had a lot of trial and error, just literally fucking things up, messing it up, and then going back and like, oh, okay, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. So I can actually make this video now. What I would recommend is try to get your hands on one of the earlier model 4-valve motors, which is the first set of Cobra motors, which might be very expensive, I know that. But also, you can get your hands on a Lincoln Mark 8 motor, one of the earlier ones, like the 94 and 95, and you should be good to go. You wouldn't have any issues there. That's a Texid block that they made in Italy, and those things are very, very stout compared to the Watt block that was made in America. So, if we were to put it down to a dollar figure, it is one of the cheapest swaps you can do. If you want to build them, those things can take a lot of horsepower. If you just want to run them stock, I'd say the limit to the factory rods and pistons is going to be somewhere right around the 2-valve motor, which is about 450, 500. The 4-valve motor, where it really shines is it makes more horsepower per upgrade than the 2-valve. So if you put headers on a 4-valve motor and headers on a 2-valve motor, the 4-valve motor is going to make more horsepower per upgrade. So you put an intake spacer on a 2-valve and a 4-valve, the 4-valve is going to make more horsepower for each upgrade. So that's why people really like these motors. They're really good with boosts as well, once they're built properly. I believe MMR actually sells a ready-to-go 4-valve block, so you can't beat that. I think they sell a complete motor as well, but I'm pretty sure that's pricey. If you did it like me, I ordered my motor from eBay, and I already had a Marauder that went underwater in a hurricane, so I kind of pieced my parts together until I got it right. And like I said, it's still not right, but it's running the best that I've had it running ever. And this thing performs. I have no issue with it performing. So if, like I said, if you ask me, I think this is one of the best swaps you can make. And also, this is one of the most rewarding swaps, because any upgrades you do to the motor, you're going to be making more horsepower per dollar, more horsepower per upgrade than if you stuck with your factory 2-valve motor. Alright, so if you guys have been following me through the video, you understand that this is one of the most affordable swaps. It doesn't take a lot of time. I've actually guided a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook on you know, how to do it. They've video called me. I have no problem with you guys hitting me up on Facebook or Instagram, DriftDreams242, and I'll help you guys with your swap as well. I know a lot of people don't do that because they might get flooded with a lot of DMs. I have no problem with that, guys. I love working on these motors. They have become like just the best motor in my world, and I'm actually planning on ordering another one from eBay just to have spare. I actually put the 4-valve motor that's in my car together, so remember I said I don't have a very good mechanical background, so I'm hoping it stays together long. If not, I'll just have one on the ground to swap in. I have ARP studs and all bottom end bolts in that Mustang, so maybe if I pull that one out, I'd buy a forged rotating assembly, which is the crankshaft, the pistons, and the rods, and just throw some boost at it. Probably, I'd say 5 to 6 pounds of boost. I don't want much. I aspire to be drifting with that thing, so that's probably where I'm gonna go with it. But I'm rambling on. The whole point of the video is, does it really make sense to 4-valve swap your 94 to 04 Mustang GT in 2023? And if you ask me, it depends on your budget. That's really all it depends on. If you have the Coyote money, definitely go Coyote. Coyote is the refined version of the 4-valve 4.6. But if you don't have the money, the 4-valve swap is not gonna be beat for any other motor that you can put in here. That's a Ford. I'm not gonna put them up against LS and all that other stuff, but if you're keeping it Ford, you're not gonna beat the 4-valve motor, not at all. But thank you guys so much for watching. If this video has helped you guys in any kind of way, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, don't drift without your dreams. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.